And now, the Suey nominees for Worst Mistake Made on the Show. Dan messes up the name of the Golick and Wingo show.
So he was on Wingo and Golick, and I'm told this is Golick and Wingo, excuse me. Whoa.
That's a fun.
Wow.
No, that's not a fine.
What do you mean?
No, what? That's not
That's not the name of the show.
That's not the name of the show.
That's not a fine.
They only had 8 million ads.
$2, fork it up. You want me to front you?
No, thank you.
Good, because I don't have any money on.
Dan calls Josh Allen Josh Drew.
While people get mad about the racial analysis in this, why is it not a worthy conversation to wonder, is it possible that Mel Kiper, in all of his whiteness, looks at Josh Drew and sees a guy, or
Josh Allen, yeah.
No.
Fine.
No.
I think Josh Drew is a guest booker at ESPN.
Dan calls Brooks Koepka Bruce.
The idea that you're sitting here arguing on behalf of he took the shine away from the golfers of the day.
He did.
Who cares?
Brooks Koepka, he cares.
Nobody cares about Bruce Koepka.
He won back-to-back U.S. Opens, man. First guy since Curtis Strange, and that's a fine. Whatever you call him, it's $10.
What did you call him?
Brooks Koepka. That's his name.
What did I call him? Bruce
Koepka.
Yes.
After he said Brooks Koepka already.
Dan calls Boomer and Carton the Carton and Daly Show.
You would totally use the airlines. If the airlines right now were in a period of altruism and giving, you would use that and you would become Carton from the Carton and Daly Show, like reselling tickets.
It's Boomer and Carton.
Oh, bleep me.
That's a fun.
The Carton and Daly Show.
What did I just do?
Is he doing the show with Carson? Is he doing the show with John Daly?
What did I just
He just
do?
merged Carson.
Christ
Greg
almighty,
Carton and
man.
Carson Daly.
That was horrifying.
Or Carson Palmer. I don't know.
Dan awkwardly answers question from Jeffrey Holmes, the tour guide of the haunted house in New Orleans that Nicolas Cage used to own.
There's everything from the ghost of a man wrapped in chains walking down the hallway on the 3rd floor, because that's where the attic was, where all the tortures and mutilations took place. I don't know if you've seen American Horror Story, the TV show.
I've seen of it. I don't. You just really threw that in my lap there.
Dan thought former Utah Jazz coach Frank Layden was dead.
Who the hell's a happy coach? Is there such a thing as a happy coach?
How about Frank Layden?
Frank Layden was great. He's also dead and has been for many years.
Frank Layden's still with us.
What?
Wow. That's a fine.
Wait a minute. What?
An egregious one.
Wait a minute. What?
$10, man. I mean, you just killed a man who's alive.
There's no
Wait a
death,
minute.
There's no death date on his Wikipedia.
That can't be right. Wait a minute.
So he's alive. If Wikipedia, there's no death.
Wait a minute.
Why can't it be?
Did I just confuse him with Rick Majerus?
Because of Utah?
That is what just happened.
And
Yep.
that.
I'm so sorry. Frank Layden.
Another fine.
It is a fine.
Dan messes up Taylor Twellman and Max Bratos' names.
Let's play the sound of Taylor Twellman speaking on behalf of all of America here at the result here. He's an ESPN analyst who I thought was going to roundhouse kick Matt Bratos during the middle of this.
Max.
Mother bleep.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, you're sorry.
That's an easy one.
You're sorry.
What'd you call him?
Sorry.
I'm not.
Dan calls Minka Fitzpatrick Minka Fitzgerald.
The Stephen Ross report in the Boston Globe. Did you guys see that? They report that instead of Minka Fitzgerald, Stephen Ross wanted to trade down.
Fitzpatrick.
What did I say?
Fitzgerald.
Damn it.
Fine.
Dan mispronounces John Boehner.
Times changed, and specifically they changed for Williams, who in 2011 was dumped from the Monday Night Football broadcast after he went on Fox News and called Democrats the enemy and illustrated his point by comparing the sight of President Obama playing golf with John Boehner to seeing...
I believe it's Boehner.
Boehner. Okay, thank you.
That's a fine.
An unfortunate one.
Dan thinks George St. Pierre had a drinking problem.
With St. Pierre, do we know where he is? Because St. Pierre was a surprise to see that he was having problems with chemicals.
St. Pierre was having problems with chemicals?
With drinking.
With drinking? I didn't know that. Did he say that?
Okay, wait a minute. This is news to you? Am I recklessly speculating that? I thought that was part of why it is that he left the sport. Am I wrong about that?
As far as I know, yeah, that isn't why he left the sport.
Okay.
That he had a problem with drinking. I never heard that.
Okay. Well, you would know that better than I then. I can't believe I just did that.
Are
okay.
you're conceding that Dana would know that?
I know, but yes, I am conceding that Dana White would know if before I would.
He has OCD.
Okay, OCD is what I meant. There you go. The medications for OCD is what I meant.
Very similar, yeah.
Yes.
All right, I can see how you could have messed that one up.
Billy thought John Fogerty was dead.
The one John Fogerty song. Do you call it Center Field or Put Me in Coach?
When he died, this is the only song I knew that he did. I was sad. I was like, I'll never see him sing it live. Around the third,
so good.
Heading for home.
Has anyone seen that Showtime Eric Clapton documentary?
John Fogerty was just on the show. I don't think he died. Billy just killed him.
He's alive. He's alive. That's a fine.
He was just on the show 2 weeks ago.
Wait a minute. He was on whose show 2 weeks ago?
This show with Greg Cody.
It is not.
I'm telling you, this is a Hispanic song.
You feel it,
Guillermo? I have a direct and pointed question for you. Why did you kill John Fogerty?
I mean, the internet says he's still with us, but who's the guy? Someone just recently, and it was like a big deal, and then Chris was talking about it. He never got to see him live, and I was pretty sure that was John Fogerty.
Tom Petty?
Oh, well, you know. I'm ready to play.
Dan calls Kevin Winter Jonathan.
That Jonathan Winters Sports Center flash where he says, and the owner of the Giants says he doesn't know how many fingers.
It's Kevin Winters.
That's a fun.
Dan calls Jerry Reese Floyd Reese.
So now what happens with the Giants? Does Eli Manning now start next week? Who's the interim coach? Did they fire Floyd Reese too? Did they fire the general manager too?
Jerry Reese.
Jerry Reese, damn it.
Oh, that's a fine. Sorry, buddy.
Dan thinks Adam Thielen is Case Keenum.
But what I just saw on the television is Randy Moss was sitting in a chair and it looked like he was being interviewed. And I looked up at the screen and thought to myself, I would like to be doing that interview with Randy Moss. And then what happened is the camera panned out and I realized that it wasn't Randy Moss being interviewed. It was Randy Moss interviewing Case Keenum. But my response to that was to retreat and be like, oh, I don't want to watch that.
Are we certain this was Case Keenum and not Adam Thielen? Because I know he interviewed Adam Thielen.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I wasn't. You know what? I was half paying attention, so it might have been Adam Thielen. That's actually funny.
Major fun.
You know, wait, no, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on. This is great.
I mean, we did a whole segment on this.
That's great. That is great.
Vikings receiver interviewing a great Vikings receiver.
How great is this? The reason that I thought it was Keenum is because he looked like he had a bloated face. He had no. That's not what happened there. That is not what happened there. I don't think all white people look the same.
Sure, it was the bloated face.
Dan doesn't know what the movie Forrest Gump is called.
Can you see it all?
Yes,
yeah, we got you. We got you.
Right now, we've got you on the crouch. Yes, here he goes out for a bomb. Number 9, M. Smith. It's thrown deep. Oh, don't run into that ladder.
Oh, nice catch.
I got so scared. Yes, he's still running.
He went over the shoulder.
He's Forrest Gump in that movie. He's left.
In that movie, Forrest Gump.
Dan thinks an actor is an actress.
And finally, True Detective Season 3 details have been revealed. Season 3 will tell the story of a crime in the heart of the Ozarks and a mystery that deepens over decades and plays out in 3 separate time periods. Mahershala Ali will play the lead role of Wayne Hayes, a state police detective from Northwest Arkansas.
Does Mahershala have a question mark in her name?
I was asking if that's how you pronounce it.
Right in the middle of the name. Right in the middle of the name.
Mahershala Ali.
That might be a fine for Dan.
Nominee.
Mahershala Ali. That's a dude. Won Best Supporting Actor at the Oscars.
Oh, wow.
Was in Moonlight.
Well, wait a minute. Why is that a fine? Because I made a man a woman?
Yeah.
No, that's not a fine. I didn't get the name wrong.
We don't have anything set for that one specifically.
I got the gender wrong. I get fined for getting names wrong, not genders wrong.
It's definitely a Suey nominee.
How is that not getting a name wrong? Because you thought it was a woman's name.
No, but I said the name correctly.
I said it with a question mark.
Dan calls Lane Johnson Nathan Lane.
Jay Ajayi is averaging 11 yards per carry behind that offensive
They are
line.
overwhelming. Like, it's crazy. Did you see who's the guy? Who's that number 65 who plays right tackle for them? Is it Nathan Lane? Is that his name? I don't get fined for not knowing.
From the birdcage?
He plays football?
Are you talking about Lane Johnson?
Lane Johnson. That is who I was talking about.
That's a fine.
No, that's not a fine if I'm asking. It's not a fine if I'm asking the question, what is that guy's name? That is not a fine.
Those are very different dudes.
Better you, Dano. Better you.
You got to vote for Billy. Billy dominated the category.